Hi everyone, this is Marguerite sharing a junk journal made from junk mail and other scraps from art projects that I have kind of set aside and was looking for a place to put them. This is sort of my first attempt at putting together a junk journal of this kind. I have a shoebox with pieces of junk mail that I kind of set aside that I thought was interesting, or where I could easily collage or do some artwork on top of that. And the shoebox is the size what I've allowed myself to collect. Anything more than that is too much for me. So once the shoebox was full, then I started to go through and put some things together. I did this into a, I folded it and sewed it in with signatures, but this was not my first attempt, actually. My first attempt was much simpler. It was this with rings. I like the idea of being able to add to it, over time. And so I have the hole punch that is, set with the, 2 hole punches. And I did not care for this. Something about the rings made it kind of bulky. Just was not really liking it. Anyway, what I had done was I had pulled some pieces of material from food items and tea boxes and things like that, and then I had done some artwork on them, or I'd used them as kind of drop cloths for underneath other projects, and then stamped or whatever when I had extra paint, things like that. I had put this together in mind of keeping in mind my niece, who's about 6. I was thinking that she might find something like this interesting. But as I said, I just was not happy with it. I just didn't love it. So I just put it aside and held on to it and looked at it once in a while. Still didn't like it, so I kept it and thought that I would, try something else. This is just a coloring page from one of my children. Cheerios box with a paint chip that I stapled in to use as for this tag. This is just, something splotched piece of book that has some paint on it. This is an envelope. I have these Tupperware doilies made from plastic, and I use them quite a lot because they hold up really well, and you can use all kinds of paints or spray, inks, things like that with these. So I used acrylic paint on this, kind of stippled it, and it came out pretty nicely. So this was just, scraps that came. This is a Kleenex box, another paint chip, the little one kind of stapled there in the corner, you can see that. This I collaged a little bit. This was an envelope that was painted a little, and then I just tore it off the piece and glued it onto something else. This is just a page from a book. So what to see here. This is a bag. Another page from a book. And then an envelope at the end. So, as I said, I wasn't crazy about it. Still not. I'll just hold on to it and see if I come up with some other ideas of what to add to it. So I started off with a completely new project in this one. I gathered enough to create 4 signatures. I didn't count how many pages. I just put them in bunches until it was a nice fit for this. This was a box of crackers that I got at a Japanese food store, Mitsuwa, and I thought it was a really nice size. So that's what I went with. And then the junk mail and things I just cut down, or used it in a smaller size or whatever. The cardboard was kind of thin, so I reinforced it with another piece of cardstock on top of that. It was plain white, so the only painting I did was I used these guys. This is the end of a tape dispenser. This was, I think, is a toy from one of my kids. I don't know what it is exactly. I just found it on the floor. And then this was a spool of thread. So I just dipped those in paint and it came out quite nice. Very simple, yet effective for that. So here I'll just flip through. A lot of stuff is just magazines. So this came from A Better Homes and Garden. This is my daughter's Scribble Scrabble, as she says. I got an old Valentine from 1999. I kept a hold of a couple of Valentines just from school that I had from over the years. So this, I just made a little pocket out of this. This is from a hotel in San Diego. There's there. Here's a piece of various pages of books, reinforced with a little bit of washi tape. This is just a piece of craft paper. This is wallpaper sample that I just stamped on that. Coloring book, Star Wars probably. Tea bags. I drink a lot of tea, or we drink a lot of tea in our house, so I've got a lot of those. Another piece of various book pages, An envelope with more paint chips from the Home Depot. This is the middle of the signature here, so I opened up the envelope, tied it in, and then closed it. This is painted with acrylic paint. This is clear plastic that goes over the outside of a bottle. And I actually threw that away, and my kids saw it in the recycle bin and said, "Mommy, you need this. You totally need this for your craft projects." And I was like, "What?" But they were right. So I took it out, cut it up, kept it, and here it is. These are AAA maps. I just use my punch when I have extra pieces, and then store them or keep them for later. Just used various punches and just hold on to those. It's another tea bag. This was a cupcake holder with some paint on it. Just thought that was pretty, and it goes well behind the craft paper. Here's another Kleenex box piece. So these are just basically scraps that I just keep and want to use up. This is from, again, Better Homes and Gardens. This one also, this is a Slovak postal form, got from one of our relatives. Sent stuff to our kids, kept that, folded it. Here's another envelope. This one I split down the middle. Yeah. Trader Joe's stickers, my kids get a lot of those. This is another tea. I don't know if you've ever noticed with these yogi teas, they have a really pretty designs on the inside of their boxes. So I kept this one, just kind of colored it a little bit. Here's the other half of that envelope. Sticker from the dentist office for the kids. And another piece of tag from pajamas for the kids. Receipts. I've kept a couple of interesting ones. This one's from Japan, trip my husband took. Paper. I just did a little bit of collaging from time to time when I had a huge empty piece that I thought looked too empty. I wanted to add something to it. This is some sheet music, and after I put on the knife and the spoon, I saw that the name of the title was There is a Tavern in the Town, which I thought was kind of worked for having silverware. I punched out hearts from another paint chip and used that around a map, punched map. There's another receipt, just some tickets, another collaged book page, and this is something in German. This is really cool map pages I have. I got an old book of maps of the Soviet Union. This kind of folds out. This is again from the Trader Joe's monthly flyer. They always have really interesting characters and illustrations in there, so I just cut that out and glued it on. This is just a piece of paper that I had sitting aside where I was stamping extra to get the paint off of, or the ink off of rubber stamps. More Trader Joe's stuff. Something from a magazine. Another tea sachet. So anyway, you get the idea. Here's the hearts that I punched out of that paint chip. This I thought just looked good, the brown on this kind of brown paper. And then this is the last signature here. This is a kind of pocket with a thing in the middle and another pocket on the other side. This is a very useful pocket. I will post the link. I found it on, of course, YouTube. One of the other ladies made it out of a 12 by 12 paper. You just kind of fold it up, and then it turns into this really nice pocket with four side pockets, and then if you anchor this down, then you get a pocket in the middle as well. So that's what I used here. There's my pirate. Sometimes if the page was really unattractive, I did a little bit of collaging. Just again, trying to use up my little scraps. I used one bag in the middle here. Here's the middle of my signature. Something from one of my kids' books. Here's another one of those clear plastic films that went over a bottle of sparkling water. And then the last is this, again, nice wrapping for chocolate. And another kids tag from clothing. So that's it. That's my plain junk journal made from junk mail and other bits and pieces that I have. The only thing that I forgot to do, which I'm a little bummed about, was I forgot to put the reinforcing of the Tyvek in underneath before I glued on this cardstock. So I'm going to have to go back and do something. Well, obviously not take it apart, but I'll have to, I don't know, do something. Just because there's going to be a lot of wear over time, and it might start to break apart. So that's the only thing I need to do. So hopefully this will give you some ideas of what you can do with some of your junk mail. If not, I hope you at least enjoyed watching. Thanks.